Hello, this is Mrs. Rancourt. In this video, I'm going to explain our handout, which is a language focus on colons. So this is a grammar lesson. You can find this handout on our EDSB page. Again, if you're having trouble getting onto EDSB, it is also in our English 2 documents for e-learning on the Google Drive link that I've posted to EDSB. It's this colons handout right here. So what you're going to want to do now is pause this video and go ahead and download the colons handout so that you can work on it as you watch this video. So for this handout, if you want to edit the PDF like you did on the theme and gender roles handout, each answer has a box already there for you where you can type your answer. Just have to erase what I wrote and then type your new answer here, okay? You can also write down your answers to these problems on a separate sheet of paper, take a picture of it, and upload it to EDSB. So let's go ahead and get started and talk a little bit about what colons are. So colon is this symbol right here. You've used it before. I'm sure I use it to make emojis. This one looks like a smiley face. So that is a colon, the double dot. Colons are used after an independent clause and before a list or explanation. Okay, so an independent clause is a sentence that can stand on its own. It's a complete sentence. The colon is like a doorway, inviting you to read on for more information. A colon can be used in front of a list that is introduced earlier in the sentence. If used, the colon replaces words like including, for example, or such as. Here are an examples for you. Haru gathered materials for his project. So notice how the sentence, Haru gathered materials for his project, is what we like to call an independent clause. That is a sentence. It does not need more information to exist. If the author wanted to put a period after that sentence, that could be the whole sentence. Haru gathered materials for his project. In this situation, the author decides to use a colon to present a list. So notice how we have an independent clause before the list. So, Haru gathered materials for his project, colon, fabric, glue, permanent markers, and a poster. Here are the lists of the materials he gathered, okay? Here's a different example of how to create a list after you write an independent clause. Flaka was disappointed by what she saw outside. Again, that is an independent clause. That is a sentence that stands on its own. You do not need more information in order to understand the sentence. In this situation, instead of putting a period, the author has put a colon, and now they're going to list the disappointing things that Flaka sees outside. Snow, icy streets, and overcast skies. A colon can also be used between two independent clauses in order to clarify, prove, or explain the first clause and more additional information, okay? In this case, the colon takes the place of a conjunction. A conjunction is a word such as and, or but. When I was in elementary school, I watched this video on a show called Schoolhouse Rock to learn what a conjunction is. So notice the words and, but, or are conjunctions. They help hook up independent clauses. Mrs. Rancourt enjoys going to the beach, and Mrs. Rancourt enjoys swimming in the ocean. Mrs. Rancourt enjoys going to the beach, but Mrs. Rancourt does not enjoy the sand. Okay, so those are all independent clauses. They are sentences all by themselves, but we're using and, but, or in order to add more details. So in the case of the colon, we're going to replace those words with the symbol. Let's look at the first example. I can only see one solution to the problem. Notice that that is an independent clause. That sentence can stand on its own. The second part says, Joshua will have to apologize. Again, that is also an independent clause. That is a complete sentence and can stand on its own. In this situation, we are explaining more information. So they're going to use the colon here instead of a period. I can only see one solution to the problem, colon, Joshua will have to apologize. Here's another example. We noticed a difference after the family camping trip, colon, we definitely listened to each other more. So here they're clarifying more information. We noticed a difference after the family trip. What was that difference? We started listening to each other more. Okay, so instead of using a period in between these sentences here, the author instead has decided to use a colon. So why exactly do we use colons? Well, using a colon instead of a comma in a conjunction forces the reader to pay attention and identify the relationship between the two clauses without any help from the writer. For example, when we looked at the sentence up here, I can only see one solution to the problem. Joshua will have to apologize. Right there, they're kind of proving a situation. They're explaining to us what that solution is going to be. He's going to have to apologize. So in this situation, we're forced to look at this colon for more information. We're going to figure out what the relationship is between this sentence and the sentence before it. The same goes here with this colon. When the sentence tells us that they've noticed a difference in the family camping trip, we know that that colon signals in our brain that these two things are connected somehow. Well, it's explaining to us what that difference is. The difference is that they're listening to each other more. The same for the examples up above. Flacco is disappointed by what she saw outside. That colon signals in our brain that they're going to give us more information. In this situation, they're providing us a list of what exactly she's disappointed by. There is a strong connection here. Another reason to use a colon is if you have a writing assignment with a low word limit, but you want to express several ideas at length, a colon will save you a few words and a final word count. This is really helpful with platforms like Twitter. It can also be helpful when I'm sending out remind messages. Remind 101 limits me on how many words I can type in a sentence, or how many words I can type in a paragraph before sending it out to you guys. So maybe I'll use colons in the future. If your writing has been critiqued as too wordy, trimming some longer sentences by using a colon will help vary your sentence structure and eliminate unnecessary words. So now that we've learned some cool tricks as to why we would use a colon, we've looked at some of the examples created here. We're going to practice with, how many are there? 8 different sentences, okay? So the directions are here for questions 1 through 8. What you're going to do here is you are going to write the 2 sentences below as one sentence joined with a colon. Okay, so notice how in the first problem they're going to give you 2 sentences. They are separated by a period. You're going to recreate these sentences, and instead of using a period, you're going to use a colon. Now watch out. You are not rewriting the sentence exactly how you see it, putting in a colon and moving on. That would be way too easy. What you're going to do instead is you're going to be sure to eliminate any words that should not be included. So it might sound too wordy or it might not make sense. I'll do the first one for you. So the first one says, the house on Mango Street is difficult to categorize. It is somewhere between fiction, prose, and poetry. So in order to rewrite the sentences, I might do the following. I rewrote the sentences as follows. The house on Mango Street can be categorized in different genres, fictional, prose, and poetry. So 3 different things there as a list. You could also combine these 2 sentences and create 2 different independent clauses joined by 1 colon, like this. Sentence says, the house on Mango Street is difficult to categorize. It is somewhere between fiction, prose, and poetry. Okay, so either one of these would work. Go ahead and try the other sentences on your own, making sure that you're taking away or adding words that you think are necessary to combine the sentences together. If you are having trouble with using colons or have any questions, please reach out to me in an EDSB message on Remind 101, or you can join our class meeting on Thursday and ask any questions you like with regards to this handout. At the bottom of the handout, it gives instructions that says revision. Reread a piece of writing you have completed recently. Revise it to include a colon in 1 or more sentences. We are no longer going to do this portion of the worksheet. Originally, we were going to do it with your writing folders in class. However, because we're no longer in class and we're sitting in our bedrooms, in our living rooms, on our front porch, wherever you are, we're going to go ahead and we're going to skip this activity. So go ahead and ignore that. You are simply just going to rewrite the sentences 1 through 8. That's all for this video. If you have any questions, please reach out.